South Bronx district of New York, the king of Latin music, Tito Puente, is playing for his people. They call him the high priest of salsa music. Tito Puente and his band are playing on a weekday afternoon in New York's poorest district. Music, he says, keeps the Puerto Rican alive. No one's paying Puente today. Music is his social work. He's joined by pianist Charlie Palmieri. Among those born of poor Puerto Rican parents in the ghettos of New York was Felipe Luciano.
Here in New York City, in the main, we're concentrated mainly in the service industries. We are dishwashers, we are doormen, we are assistant dishwashers, we are street cleaners, we are whatever the lowest on the totem pole is in terms of the service field area is what we are. In the main, the working class. We have an increasingly large and visible middle class, but that middle class still is caught up in trying to make its money and mind its own business. In fact, we have that middle class going through what I call cultural amnesia. If they can forget they're Puerto Rican, it would be much better. They can then live their lives and call themselves Hispanic and never have to worry about that term Puerto Rican. But in the main, we are a working class and very poor community, a very large poor underclass. It's a miserable feeling walking into a school, for example, and feeling the total sense of worthlessness of Puerto Rican children. And these are beautiful, this is a beautiful people. The people I'm talking about come from all races. They are black, they are brown, they are white, they are beige, they are the colors of the rainbow. We are a people who love music. We are people who have an acute sense of hearing. We, for example, our rhythm is so complex that a lot of people really can't understand it. Here in the United States of America, we have a history of having closely knit families, though that's rapidly undergoing a real transformation because of the urban decay that we see here. We have so many beautiful qualities that it's very difficult to show. It's very difficult for our own folks to see it. It's like trying to remove the layers of filth that have been put in front of their faces. And so that, I feel, has always been my job. How can we remove the veil? How can we take the stereotypes away from my own people's eyes so that they can see their own beauty?
Felipe tried to activate the Puerto Rican community back in the 60s by forming a gang dedicated to improving the life of his people by peaceful or violent means. He called it the Young Lords Gang and became its leader.
The most important contribution that the Young Lords made to the consciousness of Puerto Rican struggle here in the United States was that for the first time, the Puerto Rican community actually saw their sons and daughters fighting a system back, fighting them back culturally, in what we taught, in what we sang, in what we wore, fighting them back politically. We did not believe that the system of government that we live under, capitalism, was sufficient for our needs, and fighting them back physically. We would not allow policemen to come into our community and mercilessly beat people up. That is, we were not going to be victims any longer. And that was the message that spread like wildfire throughout the community. For the first time, you had old ladies, old men. It's an incredible sight, actually seeing the elders coming out to embrace a group of their sons and daughters who formerly they criticized for just hanging out, for having no ambition, no vision, no sense of where they were going. They're embracing these children now, and they're saying, you are our liberators. That was the most important role and the most important contribution that we made to the political consciousness here. It wasn't material. You could not see it. You could just see it in the erectness of the carriage, in the way people talked about themselves, in the way Puerto Ricans began to put themselves on the map.
Up till then, all that was known of Puerto Rican culture to outsiders was the Latin music of the New York nightclubs and Hollywood movies. In reality, this music had migrated to America with workers from Cuba and Puerto Rico. The Caribbean island of Puerto Rico had been desperately poor. Centuries ago, it was colonized by Spain, and then, at the turn of the century, the Americans moved in, and Puerto Rico became part of the American Commonwealth. That presented the slum dwellers of districts like La Perla with the chance to migrate to the city of New York, with dreams of riches they could never otherwise attain. They left the islands in their thousands for a better life. What they found were districts like the South Bronx, where Puerto Rican workers settled and raised families.
Those whom God has joined together, let no one put asunder.
Joe Conzo and Laura are marrying in the South Bronx today. The band leader, Tito Puente, is Joe's best man. Being a father of the community, the wedding would not be complete without him.
That you may find delight in each other and grow in holy love until your life's end. May you dwell in God's presence forever. May true and constant love preserve you. I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a sign of my love and faithfulness.
As a sign of my love and faithfulness.
Okay.
Like other Latin workers, musicians can't afford to turn down any opportunity. So after the wedding, Tito and his band will be off to another gig. Puerto Ricans take a great pride in their racial mixture, mostly black with Spanish, but with a bit of almost everything else thrown in. The community retained its own identity as it grew, largely through its music. Jamming with Tito Puente is drummer Ray Barreto. Puerto Ricans are the largest part of what New Yorkers call their Hispanic community.
There are 2 million, and that is what the city tells us, 2 million Hispanics in the city. Now, in a city of 8 million people, that means we are a quarter of the city's population. That is not to bring in the question of illegal aliens. If we brought in the whole point about illegal aliens, I can convince you, I can assure you that there are at least in this city 3.5 million Hispanics, which means we are the dominant majority. We are the largest ethnic group in this city. But, of course, census takers, official census takers, who, by the way, do not go into the homes and actually literally take down each member of the family, and who Spanish-speaking people do not trust anyway to give them correct information, so they never get it. But we know, I know 1 million Puerto Ricans myself. How can there be 1 million Puerto Ricans here in New York? So I know that that has been done purposely to keep us from understanding our own power and our own sense of worth. I am convinced that we are oppressed, yes. And that is a result of our own sense of victimization. Once we remove that, and once our consciousness rises a little, that is, once we begin to understand that it is we who can stop the city at any point we want, we who can elect the mayor, we who can redress our own grievances. It's just a question of the slave breaking his own shackles that are not only on his hands, but are more on his mind. If we can get those shackles removed from his mind, the Puerto Rican in this city, the Hispanic, will be a powerful force to be reckoned with.
One of the first instruments that man ever had in his hands was a pair of sticks.
I don't blame the United States or the New York City public school system for making sure that our children don't understand the music. It's not their job to do that. Their job is to make our kids automatons, to fit their system, their aesthetic, their way of doing things.
The original bell.
It's left to musicians like Charlie Palmieri to educate Puerto Rican children in their own culture. He gives music lessons after hours in a South Bronx school to preserve their links with the past.
To play it as an instrument because this was hung on a cow. And when they wanted to know in the field, the farmer wanted to know in the field where his cow was, he'd listen to the sound of the bell. Now the bomba, the plena, and the danza are rhythms of Puerto Rico. They come from that particular island. And then from Cuba, they have a whole stack of rhythms. Cuba has the la rumba, has la guaracha, has the mambo, has cha-cha-cha, it has son montuno, has son, and we're just going to have to pick one of them out. Let's pick out a rumba. It's an old-fashioned rumba. Now, we're here really to get together to learn a word that's been used quite a lot. And the word is salsa. Does anybody know what the word salsa means? Anybody? No, you don't know what salsa means? You mean to tell me when your mother starts cooking and she makes a vitello salsa, you don't know what that is? It's sauce, right? But they have bands that play it with modern harmony, and they play it really together. And they use electrical instruments now, they use electric pianos, so they give it a terminology, and the terminology is called salsa. Okay, let's practice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, go. I gotta record this. Okay. Now we're gonna do it again. Okay, we're gonna do a little mambo. All right, we're gonna do a little number that I wrote a long time ago, Mambo Show, and this is how it's gonna sound. Are you ready? I hope you are. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The same rhythms are in all salsa music. Salsa superstar Celia Cruz is rehearsing with her band. To Puerto Ricans, she's a legend. She's seldom seen in public, but on disc, her music sells second to none. She sings about the black roots and rhythms of her music.